Let's move on quickly with the first Capital Markets Committee meeting of the Securities and Exchange Commission in 2025 under the leadership of Dr. Agama holds earlier today in Lagos. The meeting of the securities exchanges, licensed trading houses and other market agents and professionals was also the first since the recent signing of the new Investment and Securities Act into law by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Let's get some of the top the highlights of today's CMC meeting now as we bring on the SEC Director General, Dr. Agama. Quite a very busy Monday it's been for you, Mr. Director General. Thank you very much for coming in tonight.
Thank you for having me.
We appreciate it so much for your time coming here. Give me an overview of today's CMC meeting for the first time since the new year started.
Well, thank you again for having me, and thank you for the support all through. This meeting for the first capital market meeting, that's the CMC meeting, it's a very significant one. Significant in the sense that it's the very first of the year, and of course, usually it's a meeting that is held every quarter. However, we decided to hold back a little bit because we had a milestone event that we know will happen. That milestone event is actually the passage of the ISA 2025. And we're fortunate that as we speak today, that bill, that act has actually been gazetted, having been signed into law by Mr. President on the 25th day of March, 2025. So for us, it is a great occasion. It's a great opportunity to reopen the space of the Nigerian capital market, inviting everyone that's interested to know that the market is open again.
When we say a capital market committee meeting, what does it really mean? Who's there?
Yeah, so the capital markets committee meeting, which is the CMC meeting, is a meeting of the gathering of the eggheads of the capital market, where policy decisions are actually reviewed and spoken to, in the sense that it provides an opportunity for the eggheads, the brains in the market, the talents in the market, to speak about the issues of the market, bringing forth policies that will enhance transparency in the market, integrity in the market, making sure that we deal with all of the nuances that you usually find in any market. And this is actually very unique.
I sat down in the room and I listened to you. One of the key announcements that you made today in the morning was that's going to be a new capital market master plan. Where are we as far as the earlier market master plan was? Why do we need a new one? What was achieved with the earlier master plan?
Fantastic. So the earlier capital market master plan, which actually started the year 2015, was a 10-year capital market master plan that expired or is expected to expire in this year, 2025. And that master plan was a far-reaching master plan, speaking to new developments that naturally will happen within this period of 10 years. And we also, in the process of executing that master plan, had to revise it to at least keep ourselves up to date with the dynamics of the capital market. And that was done successfully. However, what had happened is that with the dynamism of the capital market, there was a necessity for change. Necessity for change that is brought about by new instruments. The capital market, like you are aware, is about the most dynamic sector of the financial system. And there are improvements and there are new developments each and every day, depending on the nature of the market and the environment for which they operate. So it was important that we live up to expectation. And that living up to that expectation means that all of the plans and all of the objectives set out in the Capital Market Master Plan 2015 to 2025 should ordinarily have been met. However, we can say in confidence that we have been able to do more than 85%. And of course, the 15% that has not been done is about work in progress, because some of those things are naturally not something that comes to an end almost immediately. There are things that you work through even into the next year. So that has been achieved. But we also observed that there were new developments that were not anticipated in this year. And so clearly it was important that this is taken care of. And that is what is important for us to deal with and approach in such a way that we are able to come to terms with the new realities that has actually come to bear in the Nigerian capital market. So 2015 to 2025 is a long time. But the fortunate part of this new capital market master plan is the fact that we have a new law, the ISA number 2, 2025. That is phenomenal. It means that we can match the markets, the new law, with a new capital market master plan that speaks to the future. And the future is actually very pregnant.
You were part of the expiring 10-year master plan. You've been in the market for that year, so you were part of it. Under previous administrations of the SEC, would you say it was given the best of the push, as it were, for those 10 years expiring this year in the master plan?
Yes, I was part of it, and I was privileged to be the project manager for that master plan. And that was very, very, very good for me. And I can tell you clearly that, yes, we may not have hit, the gold, right? But we were on course at hitting the gold. And that speaks to the dynamic nature of the market. You probably will have set a goal for yourself, believing strongly that that was the end of it. But all of a sudden, because of the market, because of the macroeconomic and microeconomic situation, things may change. But in all, we can give ourselves a pat on the back that we thought properly, we thought well, and we've been able to get to where we should get to at that time. Thinking about new things will necessarily be the next frontier to take. And mind you, what we did with the Capital Market Master Plan 2015 to 2025 was, within the period of that Capital Market Master Plan, we needed to do a refresh. And that refresh was important to update the plan to meet the dynamics of the environment. So that is what it is actually a moving average. And so we can say clearly, from the bottom of our heart and from the might of our powers, that we did well and we will do well.
So the new master plan that will now be midweight by yourself and your team at the SEC. This time around, you're not going to be the project manager. You're going to be you're the head of the SEC. So this is going to be your baby. You're going to midwife this. So is it going to be 10 years, 5 years? What will likely be contained in the new master plan?
So the new master plan, by normal tradition, will naturally be a 10-year. So that we can look at it from a broad perspective, we can look at it from a long-term, perspective. However, it has the opportunity of being, reviewed within the period, noting the dynamism of the market, noting the movement of the market, and noting the various conditions that probably would change in the course of the implementation of the plan. So it is actually a dynamic document, it's a living document, and that's what we intend to produce.
You also announced today the structuring of the Capital Market Committee. What would the new structure look like, and what would be the objectives?
Yes, very well. That's critical for us at the SEC, and the new SEC, like we will call it. Prior to this time, the structure of the market does not really provide incentive for thinking through major problems. What we are trying to do with the new structure speaks to dealing with critical issues that will impact the market, making sure that at the end of every CMC meeting, we will be able to come out with concrete policies that speaks to a challenge that exists or speaks to a future that we look out for. That is exactly what we want to do with the market. We want to make it as business-like as possible, and certainly not so long, not much about talk, but work. And that's exactly what the market is. And what we have done is that we're inaugurating new committees that speaks to the issues that bedevils the market and issues that we need to deal with, anticipating that the macroeconomic environment will change, or the international community will actually change their taste and pattern for products in Nigeria, let alone global products. So these are the things we want to do in order to make us as attractive as possible, building confidence and resilience in the Nigerian capital market, and making sure that Nigerians get the full value of wealth redistribution while we build a market that is glorious.
I'm just trying to wonder what the core pillars of the new committees will look like. Will that be digital asset? Would there be, what was contained in those?
Yes, you hit it right, on the head. Digital asset is critical. That is the future of money. The future of how money actually works within the capital market is something that we're very interested in. We're very interested in tokenization. We're very interested in ICOs. We're very interested in STOs. These are issues that are clear for us, as a market. We're very interested in making sure that the digital economy is not missed with the capital market. That for us is critical. Knowing fully well that the demography in Nigeria speaks exactly to the digital assets economy, and so we don't want to miss out on it. We had started it long before now, and of course, a lot of jurisdictions are asking us, how are we going about it? We're bringing more people into the space, getting them to understand the dynamics of what we are doing and how we are doing what we are doing to encourage Nigerians, to encourage the youth of Nigeria, to make sure that at the end of the day, we can raise our heads up high to say, yes, we started and we are doing very well. But beyond that is sustainability. Sustainability is actually very, very prominent. And so we're speaking to disclosures around sustainability. How do we feel into it? And what role do we have to play? Nigeria as a country is a country that has issues around sustainability, not east, west, and south. They are peculiar sustainability issues, and that is very important, the disclosure pattern. And so we are part of the CMC, that is Growth and Emerging Markets Committee of the IOSCO, which we just joined to at least facilitate that. And of course, in the reportage of companies, that was, mean a very important part of it.
Very interesting. One of the things that millions of Nigerians watching the show would want you to talk about is the market efficiency. How soon do I buy? How soon do I sell? How soon do I get my money? The operations of the registrars, for example. There have been a couple of complaints about the delay in unclaimed dividend and how to process share registrations and things like that. Then you have new issuers who are coming to the market and say, look, the time to market is quite long. I'm losing money. Everyone is losing time. What are the discussions are the CMC regarding these very important areas of market, transaction cycle, market efficiency of the operations of the entire value chain of the marketplace in Nigeria?
Yes, I am glad to mention, for those that do not know, the time to market, as we speak in Nigeria, is now 14 days.
That's for issuers? For
issuers, clearly. And so for us, that is critical. It used to be 1 year, 1.5 years, or thereabout.
What's the problem, Mr. Director?
Well, I don't know what the problem was then.
You've been in the market.
Yes.
You've been in the market, so you should know.
Yes, well, I was in the leadership at that time. But maybe there were challenges.
Yes.
But the important thing is not about what had happened before. What is important is what is happening now. And for us, that is what is critical. Now we have been able to do what we needed to do as a leader, and we have cut down the time to market to 14 days.
What did you do? How did you achieve that?
Leadership, technology, capacity building, and focus. There was an intentionality, and that intentionality has paid off. So clearly, you can find that market, even under issuances, right, it's digitalized. You can actually, on your phone, buy securities in Nigeria. Primary market, secondary market.
Yes.
These are things that are no-brainers. And we put our acts to it, and we've done it, and it is happening. So we are clear about it. And going forward, like I announced during the CMC, settlement is T+2 from the 28th of November 2025. That is huge. And we are moving on to T+0. We want to make sure that the market is as efficient, timely as possible, and people get the benefit of the transactions that they do on the market just as instantly as they pay the money. This is what we intend to do. We are creating a global market that allows for everyone to be a participant, a globalized market that allows people to be interested, changing the way we are viewed, changing the way the market runs, and making sure that prosperity is distributed to Nigerians, as enunciated by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu.
We talk about the registrars.
Yes.
Touch on that for me.
Right. So for the registrars, we are speaking to them, and we've given them the marching orders. We must deploy technology. There is no two ways about it. For us, we believe strongly that we must continue to elicit confidence from Nigerians. And the only way we can do that is actually giving back to them what they deserve to get. And one of those things that they deserve to get, their dividends must be paid to them as at when due. And we're encouraging them to use blockchain in order to distribute this. And of course, it is possible. If you see the fixed income securities market, it's instant. It's T plus 0.
Yes.
Right. So there is no reason why the equities market should not gravitate towards that. And that we must do.
In fact, the equity should be T plus 0.
Right.
Yeah, they should lead, by the way. But let's talk about the ISA 2025, and I wish you would tell me all the long stories, how you managed to get it out of the bureaucracy, as it were. But maybe that's a story for another day. What's been the feedback? It was officially unveiled to the market. What's been the feedback from the market so far?
The feedback has been overwhelming. It has been overwhelming because the people see the value in it. And to tell you the truth, it is exciting to be in this market at this time. If you are not part of this market at this time, then you are missing. And it shows clearly from the leadership of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu that this the bill was actually signed into law within 7 days record time that it got to the table of Mr. President. It has never happened before. It is the second law to be gazetted in Nigeria in the year 2025. So it is christened ISA number 2, 2025. And so it just lets...
How did you get that done?
How did I get it?
Yes.
Intentionality, focus, leadership, support from our minister, support from the National Assembly, support from Mr. President, most of all, and support from stakeholders.
Okay, so talk to me, Mr. about renewed focus and vigor at the SEC when it comes to market disclosure and discipline, because folks will want to see some real discipline in the market.
It is already happening.
Tell me about it.
Very recently, we suspended Midland Trust, right? Securities, very recently. And we are naming and shaming anyone involved in any practice that is unholy. The law has given us the teeth, especially for Ponzi schemes, where the law says it is 10 years imprisonment, right? And 20 million fine, instant. We are not playing. We have gone out into the market to sensitize Nigerians, and we are doing much more, even onto that. We have a podcast, from our office right away in Abuja, and we are tending towards creating the capital market, radio. All with the aim of letting the people know. We understand that financial literacy is key. Financial literacy is important. We also understand that people are challenged not to be able to get to our website, possibly, or they're so engaged in doing other things. And so we're introducing technology in dealing with this issue. One of the new things that's going to come to the market very, very soon, by this quarter, is a verification tool, right? Using the USSD code.
Who would that be for?
It will be for every investor. If an investment firm comes to you, asking you to invest, one of the first things you need to do, using the USSD code or to our website, is to check if that investment firm is registered with the SEC. There is no investment firm or individual that is permitted to do anything in the capital market regarding investment and securities business without being registered with the SEC.
So this is not just know your customer, but know your client.
Completely.
So if I'm investing and XY, AB, whatever says, I'm running a scheme, we're going to invest it, and I'm sure I just wanted to ask you about the market tours that you've done and some of your team and some of the things you're hearing from Nigerians on the streets when they come to Ponzi schemes. It looks like the CBEX wasn't the only one. It looks like there's still a couple of folks hanging around looking to defraud investors. So the USSD code, how will it work with the telecom communications?
It's very easy. So, star dot dot dot, star dots. Speaking clearly, is this company registered? If you see what we've been doing recently, is issuing out disclaimers. Recently, we had one on Tofro. Recently, we had one on P1 Max. All of these are ways to educate Nigerians. If it is too good to be true, certainly it is not true.
So if person comes to you, Mr. Director General Agama, and say, oh yeah, I've got this new investment, but the name is XYZ. All I just need is just put the USSD code on my phone.
Simple.
And
you get a result
telling
you if that company is registered with the SEC.
Or if that scheme, collective scheme is registered. But isn't that very important?
Yes, sure.
So that they don't just register with the CAC
No.
And the product itself is not registered.
In fact, I need to speak to that.
Yes.
Your registration with the CAC as a company does not give you the legal right to run an investment business in Nigeria. It's only a registration. For you to run an investment business in Nigeria, the law explicitly states so. And that law is the ISA, which is the Investment and Securities Act number 2 of 2025, that you must be registered with the SEC. And why do you have to register? You have to register because the SEC will do what we call the fit and proper persons test to identify who is behind whatever is happening. Do they have the capacity? Do they have the knowledge? Do they have the integrity to receive money from Nigerians? And do they have the knowledge to deliver on their promises? These are the things that the SEC will check through. And it's very, very important that Nigerians must reach out to us when they are in doubt, as much as possible, because we are not in every part of Nigeria. So the Nigerians themselves are going to, we are going to need them to help us to identify those that are into nefarious schemes. For anyone that is caught, certainly that person will go down for it because the law has given us.
Is it 911 coming?
Right, certainly. The USSD code will extend into a 911 level wherein you can call immediately and get results.
I need the help. I just finished. Someone says, Bosin, invest in this. I just said, 911. So, is this the SEC? You say yes.
Is this guy registered?
Is this an approved scheme?
These are the questions.
That's how easy you want to make it.
Exactly. So we are saying invest, but verify.
Yeah. In God we trust, as it goes with the USD,
certainly,
with the dollar. In God we trust, but everything else is data.
Correct.
Everything we verify. Mr. Director General, it's been a very tough day. But when the 911 number comes, I want to be one of the first to know. Then that's the number that every Nigerian wants to know. That number they can call, and you should just get a response.
We're happy to share that. But before that happens, we wouldn't wait for that. If you go onto our website, you see our numbers, you call those numbers, that's the customer service numbers at the SEC, and they will instantly answer you. If you don't call within the working hours, send us an email, and we'll respond immediately. Just know it. The SEC is out there to protect the investor.
Maybe you just need to put someone there on a Saturday or a Sunday, even a public holiday.
But it's not. In fact, we are extending it, to all our, frontline staffs, so that wherever they are, irrespective of the time, they can answer you.
All right.
That is a vision.
I'm going to make that call.
You're welcome.
You'll be there to pick it up.
Sure.
You are the number one. You're the number one person at the SEC.
You'll hear from me.
That'll be great. Thank you so much. Have a great day. It's nice having you here.
Thank
you.
Thank
have
you
a pleasant evening, Mr. Director General. Dr. Agama, Director General of the Nigeria Securities and Exchange Commission.